So the first thing I want to go through is the definition of RTMS. Industry-led, government-supported, voluntary self-regulating scheme. And I think that is what's given us so much credibility, as this is voluntary. So the people that have adopted self-regulation haven't been forced to do so. They've stuck their hand up and said, I'm going to voluntarily stick to the rules and regulations of South Africa. We have got fantastic legislation and we've got a fantastic road traffic act. It's just that nobody complies to it. And when you stick your hand up and you volunteer to do something, it becomes a lot more powerful than just simply following the rules when it suits you. And I think that's what's given us a lot of credibility. It encourages consignors and road transport operators to implement a management system. So what RTMS is, everything you're supposed to do if you're running trucks on the road is incorporated in the RTMS standard. It is just a simple framework to make sure that all aspects of what you should be doing is right. And as I said earlier, if you cannot get RTMS certification, then you should not be in the transport industry. You are going to kill somebody, or you are going to become bankrupt. Absolute guarantee. The best way to lose your money is to buy a truck. It's the easiest way if you don't know what you're doing. It's a tough business to be in. So that's what our standard is all about. And the outcomes is obviously to preserve road infrastructure, improve road safety, and improve productivity. And I think we've seen out of all case studies today that everybody has, with the basics being in place, been able to identify key elements where they can improve their businesses. And all of that simply goes down to the bottom line. No matter how you look at it, be it risk, be it driver health, be it the reduction of fines, the reduction of accidents, all of it works down to the bottom line. And as we all know, transporters in this room, making money in the transport industry is not as easy as what it used to be. It is a tough environment out there. And you obviously need to be as lean as possible, and this is a great tool to get that done. From a Barloworld point of view, we've got 72 operations around the country. We operate in all sectors, from mining, building construction, agricultural, fuels, all the way through down to sugar, where you would see the Barloworld vehicles branded as Barloworld Transport, but also remember Aspen Logistics is part of our business, Timber 24, Manline Mega, Manline Freight, Manline Energy. We're all the same company. It's all part of Barloworld Transport. So we're in a lot of sectors around the country. Run about 1,200 vehicles nationwide. And RTMS is a minimum requirement at every single operation in our business, and has been so for the last 10 years. That if we open up a new contract or we purchase a new business, they have to be RTMS certified. And it's a standard framework that we've adopted through our business, and it's now a way of life. It's the way we do things. I don't think we could ever change that. What has also been great is for our business, it has been great for our long-term compliance, and being a corporate listed company, it has been hugely important to us that we can manage this thing on a long-term basis. And the RTMS standard being rolled out at 72 sites, what makes it great for us is that everybody at every site now operates and manages the fleet in the same way. There are standard documents and standard procedures. So we can move people around and they can go run different depots, because the way the depot is set up is exactly the same. You leave people alone, they start building their own Excel spreadsheets. You just give them 10 minutes and they're turning short left and they're doing something differently. And this has put that framework in place for us. Why we adopted the RTMS, being a listed company, the adherence to payload, speeding, driving hours is something that we have to do as a company. It is critically important, and having this framework has really helped us to tie that thing nicely together. Documentation control. I think that's something that really worries me, that if you have got a transport business and you say you've done a service on your vehicle and you don't have the paperwork to prove it, and your truck kills somebody, a clever lawyer is going to put your CEO in jail. and this is something that we are very lax with in South Africa, is to make sure that the paperwork, what we say we do, we can prove it, it's documented, and we are covered. And I think RTMS forces you to do that. And I can tell you now, I hope the day never comes, but when it does, you're going to be appreciating that RTMS file when you can go pull the records to prove that you were doing it by the book. So great advantage as far as documentation control is concerned. It's been a good foundation for us. We got ISO 39001 certification on our mainline energy, on our fuel vehicles. So it's been a good foundation for us to do that. It's obviously allowed us to participate in the PBS demonstration project. And it's given our clients a lot of comfort with consignee-consignor legislation, that a lot of the stuff that they are accountable for, we can show them that we are already ticking those boxes. So that's given them a lot of comfort. From a PBS point of view, we've got 77 PBS vehicles running throughout South Africa. I've just put in a couple of pictures of some of the PBS units we've got. And I mean, this PBS, in my mind, is an absolute no-brainer. And I think once the demonstration project's over and hopefully it goes into legislation one day, I would be surprised if we don't land up on national routes mainly operating with PBS vehicles, because the advantages are absolute great. You saw in Paul's presentation the reduction in roadway, the stability of all the simulations that need to be done, and the payload efficiencies. You're moving more payload with less vehicles, so you're affecting road congestion. And of course you're reducing CO2, and I'm going to show you some of the stats that we've put together as a company over the last couple of years. So from 2015 we started recording this, went from 38 PBS units up to 77, and I'll just go through our full year numbers of last year. We moved 1.5 million tons on our PBS vehicles. They done 36,000 trips. We saved 8,800 trips. That means we moved the same amount of payload but done 8,800 less trips for the year. So understand what the impact on road congestion and roadway is concerned when you're taking all these vehicles off the road. Number of kilometers saved, 2.2 million kilometers of traveling saved, but we moved the same payload. Now, for every kilometer, there's an associated risk for accidents, for breakdowns on vehicles. You now take 2.2 million kilometers out your business, but you still move the same payload. It is a massive, massive improvement. We've saved 1.2 million litres of diesel, compared to as if we had to run it with standard vehicles moving the same payload. So that has been the saving to us, and sitting at over 3,200 tons of CO2 that our vehicles have saved within 12 months. So as you can see, those stats speak for themselves. And of course, Paul showed you how much stabler and how much safer these vehicles are on the road. There's another two pictures, our fuel quad. It runs 55,000 litres of fuel, and there's one of our PBS side tippers that's running on the Anglo Platinum contract. We load them up to 50 tons. So as you can see, from a PBS point of view, it has been a huge advantage to our business. My last slide is not a Barloworld logistics slide. It's a RTMS slide of what we're doing in the background. Our standard, SANS 1395, was published in 2014, so the standard is now 5 years old. It's gone through a couple of revisions, with the latest revision being sent out last week as per Oliver. We've aligned our RTMS standard to be very closely aligned to ISO 39001 if you want that international recognition or certification. The RTMS framework is there. It's actually a lot more complicated and comprehensive RTMS than what ISO is. We're in a lot more detail than what the ISO standard is, which is good. The auditors, they are all appointed through SANAS, and they work as per SANS 17021. So there's a lot of stringent background work to ensure that the people that go out and audit RTMS are 100% compliant and they understand road transport. It's not just an auditor that's rocked up there and has got no idea what he's doing. That's why we have gone through the SANAS process, to ensure that our auditors are up to scratch. And there's a couple of us that actually we go, myself, Paul, Kathy, there's a couple of us that have been certified by SANUS that on a every 3-year basis, we actually go audit the auditors to make sure that the standard is being maintained, so that we know the auditors rocking up at your business are properly trained and they fully understand how to do it. And that's how we maintain a high standard of RTMS, and that's worked well for us. From the RTMS point of view, 274 depots or companies around the country are certified, and we're now sitting at 17,800 RTMS vehicles on the road. And that's a mixture of trucks and of buses. There's a good, Kathy, how many buses are there? About 5,000 more or less? 2,000 RTMS certified buses on the road. Yeah, so these numbers over here, 17,800 is trucks. It doesn't include the trailers that fall under RTMS. So if we had to put the trailers in with those numbers and buses, our rate, we're going to be closer to around about the 45,000 mark in total of pieces of equipment on the road that are RTMS certified. If you see, we started off in 2007 with 74 vehicles, in 2013 with 1,000 vehicles. So in the last 6 years, we've pushed it from 1,000 to close on to 18,000 vehicles, which I think the growth has been absolutely great. The nice thing about this is I don't think we have lost 5 companies since the start of RTMS certification. I don't think we have lost 5 companies that have decided not to continue with RTMS. Everybody that started with RTMS in the last 10 years are still RTMS certified. So that tells me something, that there's value in this. This is not just a shot in the dark, let's do this once, let's get certification, now we're bored with it and set it aside. It tells me that there's value in the standard, that the people have decided to stick with it because it's made a big difference in their businesses, which is great for us to see. And then, of course, this year, the RTMS, the back office, the NPC, we signed an agreement with the guys from the Smart Freight Center in Amsterdam, and we have now started with our first management training, smart transport management training course. The first one happened yesterday. The next course takes place tomorrow and Friday, where I think we've got 18 or 19 people that will be attending the session tomorrow. And this smart transport management training is absolutely great. It covers all aspects of business. It doesn't really cover, it's not an RTMS training course. It is how to run a transport business. A lot of aspects as far as selecting of what type of vehicle you want to purchase. Why do you want to buy it? How are you going to design it? How are you going to run it? So there's a lot of other stuff that we have started that's part of this course. And what's nice about it is this management training course, it's not just a question of you come in, sit down. We tell you out of our years of experience and as per the course material, we don't just go through that. After the course, you have to go and put an action plan together, and you have to report back to us the benefits that you have seen. We in turn report those reports get sent back to Bono and the guys in Amsterdam for us to see, have you got value and what changes have you made in your business. It's not just a question of, I've attended a course now, because the problem is most people, when they've done a course in 2 weeks' time, they're back to their old habits and doing it the old way. You're with this training forced to report back to us what progress you're making, which I think is absolutely great. So that's what we're doing in the background of our RTMS, and that is me.